A young Chinese man documented nearly 2,000 cases of clampdowns on free speech in China on his Twitter page in both Chinese and English. The young man, whose pseudonym is Junior Wang, explained why he started this project. Chinese authorities arrested many activists for denigrating and insulting China around the 70th anniversary of the founding of the Chinese Communist regime. Wang noticed that these people simply made a few remarks on the internet that the Chinese officials found displeasing. He realized that China's suppression of free speech had risen to a new level. Therefore, he decided to build a database of such cases and report them on Twitter. He collected these cases through publicly available sources, such as announcements from government websites, police departments, court judgments, and media reports. For instance, according to Wang's Twitter records on February 16, 2020, Tang Kunqiang, a resident of Guilin City, apparently a CCP supporter, sentenced to 5 months detention for writing words on some local buildings to express his anger about Hong Kong protest and CCP leaders for not solving it effectively, which unfortunately included words that insulted those leaders. On the same day, Li Shusen, a businessman in Heilongjiang province, made some comments in a WeChat group deemed by the authorities to have insulted the CCP and state leaders. He was detained for 5 days and the court rejected his appeal. Wang's database traces back to 2013. He has collected nearly 2,000 cases and the number is still growing.
Since
the CCP established its power 70 years ago, it has launched various campaigns that have brutally killed nearly 100 million Chinese. From the suppression of anti-revolutionary, the anti-rightist movement, the Great Famine, the Cultural Revolution, Tiananmen Massacre, to the persecution of Falun Gong, every time after it brings serious harm to the Chinese people. It tries its best to distort history and cover up the truth. In doing this, the CCP is attempting to make people forget its history of evil. So in this sense, Mr. Wang is doing a great thing that surely makes the CCP extremely frightened. I really admire his courage and his righteous deeds.
In July last year, China's Ministry of Foreign Affairs responded to Western countries' condemnation of China's human rights violations. The spokesperson claimed that in China no one will be punished for merely making a speech. A handful of people spread rumors that they were prosecuted for free speech. They were in fact doing this out of ulterior motives, and their claims cannot stand the scrutiny of facts. Wang criticized the CCP's Foreign Affairs Ministry for blatantly lying. We must let the world know that the CCP's suppression of free speech and human rights is systemic, and there is not just a few cases, he said.
Speaking of the red lines in China, there are several fixed criteria. One is about the high-ranking CCP leaders, whether they are current or former leaders, and then another one is about Falun Gong, the Tiananmen Square massacre, and the political movements in the past. Of course, the current hot topics can also be added to the taboo list, such as the pandemic this year.
Shong Sue, a Chinese writer living in Canada, pointed out that violence and lies are two major tools for the CCP to seize power and maintain its power.
For the Chinese authorities, these are the most serious issues and are most heavily censored. Therefore, the punishment is particularly harsh when someone touches upon these topics. The CCP will be ruthless if anyone crosses these red lines.
Wang, who is in his 20s, told Voice of America that he lives inside the wall country and he identifies himself as a free speech activist.
As the number of the cases I collected is growing, I came to realize that I myself could well be the next one.
Wang said that there is no turning back. He stressed that he will continue to do this job for Chinese people to keep the memory alive until one day he is also taken away, or until the day when China no longer prosecutes anyone for their speech.
Record and archive every evil that the CCP has done. I believe that in the future, this seemingly powerful and evil regime will collapse all of a sudden. I believe this day will come soon. We will work together with Mr. Wang and do everything we can for this day to come.
According to Wang, many of the cases he collected would make headlines in other countries. However, in China, there are 1,000 times more cases than his database, and disdainfully they mostly happen unnoticed. He hopes to let the world know about the grave situation of free speech in China. Due to the new restrictions on social media, our channel may be affected. If you'd like to stay tuned to our channel and receive notifications and updates, please provide us with your email by clicking the link below. Thank you for your support.